The locker room reeked of sweat and cheap body spray, the kind that clung to everything like a bad memory. Lucas slammed his fist into the metal door, the echo ringing out like a gunshot, as the laughter from the cluster of jocks by the benches twisted into something sharper, meaner. "Faggots got feelings," one of them sneered, tossing a crumpled towel at his feet, and in that split second, Lucas felt the world crack open. Not with rage, but with a quiet, searing resolve that had been building for 4 long years. Lucas had always known he was different, even before he could put a name to it. Growing up in the sleepy suburbs of Elmwood, Ohio, a town where Friday nights meant high school football under floodlights and Sunday mornings were all about church potlucks, he'd learned early to bury his secrets deep. His mom, a single nurse with calloused hands and a smile that could light up the ER, worked doubles to keep their split-level house from foreclosure. She loved him fiercely, but love in Elmwood came with blinders. Questions about crushes were met with hopeful nods toward the cheerleaders, not the way Lucas's eyes lingered on the quarterback's broad shoulders during practice. High school hit like a freight train. Elmwood High was a brick-and-mortar time capsule. Faded red doors, trophy cases gleaming with relics from the 80s, and a student body that prized conformity like it was the state championship ring. Lucas was 14 when the whispers started, fueled by a careless slip in the 8th grade bathroom, overheard by Tommy Hargrove, the king of crude jokes, who spread it like wildfire through the freshman ranks. "Lucas is a queer," Tommy had announced in the cafeteria, loud enough for forks to clatter. By sophomore year, it was graffiti on his locker, "Fairy Boy" in Sharpie, scrubbed off by the janitor but never erased from memory. He adapted, kept his head down in classes, aced AP Lit and Calc to fly under the radar as the smart kid, not the target. Drama club became his refuge. Backstage, under the dusty lights, he could lose himself in scripts that let him play the hero without the hassle of real-life spotlights. But the bullying was relentless, a low hum that escalated into roars. Shoved into lockers, accidentally tripped in the halls, his backpack rifled for anything that could be twisted into ammo. Once, during gym, they'd locked him in the equipment shed, the darkness pressing in until Coach Ramirez finally noticed and busted the door open. "Toughen up, kid," Coach had muttered, clapping his shoulder like that fixed anything. It was in junior year that Daniel entered the picture, crashing into Lucas's carefully constructed walls like a meteor. Daniel Whitaker, senior, star shortstop, with sun-bleached hair that fell just right over hazel eyes and a grin that made the whole school swoon. He wasn't from Elmwood originally, transplanted from Cleveland after his folks split, landing in the heart of the football team's inner circle. Daniel had that effortless cool, the kind that came from being 6'1" and built like he bench-pressed textbooks. Girls trailed him like groupies. Guys wanted to be him. Lucas, he wanted to disappear whenever Daniel walked by, heart hammering in a way that felt both electric and terrifying. Their first real collision happened in the library, of all places. Lucas was hunkered down in the biography section, nose deep in a dog-eared copy of The Great Gatsby, pretending to study for the lit paper due Monday. The bell had rung 20 minutes ago, but he lingered, avoiding the post-class gauntlet. Footsteps echoed, boots on linoleum, and then Daniel was there, slinging his backpack onto the table with a thud that scattered Lucas's notes. "Yo, you the drama kid? The one who nailed that monologue in Romeo and Juliet." Daniel's voice was casual, like they were old buddies, but his eyes held a spark Lucas couldn't place. Lucas blinked, heat creeping up his neck. Yeah. Lucas. That was. Months ago, Daniel dropped into the chair opposite, legs sprawling like he owned the space. Saw the replay on Insta. You were fire. Made me think, shit, maybe I should have auditioned instead of wasting my life on bases. He leaned forward, elbows on the table, and for a heartbeat, the library felt too small, the air too thick. I'm Daniel, by the way. Whitaker. I know. The words slipped out before Lucas could catch them, and he winced internally. Smooth. Idiot. Daniel laughed. Low and genuine, not the mocking bark Lucas braced for. Famous already? Cool. Listen, I need a favor. My English essay's due tomorrow, and I'm drowning in metaphors or whatever. Gatsby's your jam. Help a guy out. What followed was an hour of Lucas stumbling through explanations of green lights and Valley of Ashes, Daniel scribbling notes with a focus that bordered on intense. Their knees brushed under the table once, twice, and neither pulled away. When the library lights flickered on, closing time, Daniel stood, clapping Lucas on the back. You're a lifesaver, man. Oh, you won. Pizza Friday? My treat. Lucas nodded, dazed, as Daniel sauntered out. That night, alone in his room with posters of Broadway ghosts peeling at the edges, he replayed the touch. Warm, lingering, dangerous. Friday came too fast. They met at Gino's, the local joint with checkered floors and neon signs buzzing like fireflies. Daniel showed up in a faded Huskies tee and jeans that hugged his thighs, sliding into the booth with 2 sodas already sweating on the Formica. Conversation flowed easy, baseball stats bleeding into show tunes, Daniel admitting he secretly streamed Hamilton on road trips. Don't tell the team, he said with a wink. They'd bench me for life. Lucas laughed, the sound foreign in his throat, and for the first time in years, the knot in his chest loosened. They talked until the manager flipped the closed sign, Daniel insisting on walking him home under a sky pricked with stars. At the corner of Maple and Elm, Daniel paused, hands shoved deep in pockets. This was fun. Like, real fun. We should. Yeah. Lucas cut in, heart in his throat. We should. The kiss happened on impulse. Or maybe inevitability. Daniel's hand cupping Lucas's jaw, pulling him in soft and tentative, lips tasting of pepperoni and possibility. It lasted 3 seconds, maybe 4, before Daniel jerked back, eyes wide in the porch light. Shit. I gotta go. He was gone before Lucas could process, leaving him standing there, lips tingling, the night suddenly colder. School Monday was a minefield. Daniel avoided the halls where Lucas lurked. No texts, no nods in passing. Rumors swirled by lunch. Tommy Hargrove crowing about Whitaker's little secret side quest. Lucas's stomach dropped when he overheard it in the cafeteria line. Daniel, laughing it off with the team. Nah, man, just tutoring the nerd. Kid's harmless. Harmless. The word sliced deeper than any slur. Lucas skipped drama that afternoon, curling up in the bathroom stall until the tears dried. Betrayal? Too soon for that label. But the ache was real, a bruise blooming under his ribs. Weeks blurred into a tense standoff. Lucas threw himself into rehearsals for the spring musical. Rent, fittingly chaotic, channeling the hurt into Mark's brooding lines. Daniel, meanwhile, doubled down on the facade. Dates with Sarah the cheer captain, home runs that had the bleachers chanting his name. But Lucas caught the glances, stolen, searing, across the auditorium during assemblies, in the quick brush of shoulders in crowded corridors. Cracked open in May, after a rain-soaked practice. Lucas was cutting through the empty fieldhouse, script in hand, when Daniel ambushed him by the bleachers. Rain slicked his hair, uniform clinging like a second skin. Wait. Just fuck. Lucas. Wait. What? Lucas snapped, arms crossed, rain dripping from his hood. Come to tutor me again? Or explain how I'm your dirty little experiment? Daniel flinched, stepping closer, voice raw. It's not like that. My dad, he found out about the kiss. Called me every name in the book. Said if word got out, I'd be done. Baseball scholarship. The works. Elmwood eats its own. You know that. Lucas wanted to scream, to shove him away, but the pain in Daniel's eyes mirrored his own. So you ghost me? Let them think. I panicked. Daniel's hand shot out, gripping Lucas's wrist. But I can't stop thinking about you. That night. It was the first real thing I felt in years. The kiss that followed was desperate. Rain-salted, Daniel's body pressing Lucas against the chain-link fence like he could fuse them together. Hands roamed, tentative at first, then bold, fingers tracing collarbones, dipping under wet shirts. They broke apart gasping, foreheads touching, the world narrowing to breaths mingling in the downpour. From there, it was stolen moments. Late-night drives in Daniel's beat-up Ford, parked on Lover's Lane with the radio low and windows fogged. Whispered confessions in the prop room, bodies tangled amid forgotten costumes. Daniel opened up about his fractured family. Mom gone to Seattle with a new guy, Dad drowning regrets in Bud Light. Lucas shared the locker scars, the nights he'd cried himself to sleep wishing he could be normal. Love bloomed fierce and fragile, a rebellion against the town's iron grip. But Elmwood had eyes everywhere. By summer's end, the whispers turned to shouts. Tommy caught them once, kissing goodbye behind the Dairy Queen, and the fallout was biblical. Slurs scrawled on Daniel's truck. Fag lover in whitewash. Lucas's mom fielding calls from concerned parents, her face crumpling as she hugged him tighter. Daniel's dad pulled him from the team, grounded indefinitely, but the real wound was the fracture in their circle. Sarah dumped him publicly, calling him a perv in group chats that lit up like bonfires. Senior year dawned like a storm cloud. Lucas, now the outcast poster boy, walked halls lined with averted eyes and muffled snickers. Daniel tried to shield him, arms slung casual over shoulders in the quad, defying the stares, but the pressure mounted. They're saying we'll never make it out, Daniel murmured one night, tracing patterns on Lucas's bare chest in the dark of his bedroom, parents oblivious downstairs. That we're freaks, Lucas turned, cupping his face. Then we prove him wrong. Together, they almost believed it. The school year carved them hollow, each day a grind of endurance. Lucas's grades held steady, straight A's his armor, but the toll showed in hollow cheeks and shadowed eyes. Drama club, once sanctuary, became battlefield. Whispers from castmates about the gay leads turning rent rehearsals into minefields. He poured it into his performance as Roger, the rocker's AIDS-haunted soul, belting Light My Candle with a rawness that left directors in tears. Offstage, isolation crept in. Friends drifted, Ellie from bio, who'd once shared earbuds during dissections, now crossed streets to avoid him. Even his mom, bless her, tiptoed around it. Honey, maybe tone it down? For your own good. Daniel fared worse. The golden boy tarnished. Baseball scouts ghosted after the rumors hit college message boards. His dad ramped up the booze, sermons on manhood delivered over dinner plates. Yet he clung to Lucas like a lifeline, sneaking into his window after curfew, bodies entwining in silent defiance. Their love was a fever. Urgent kisses in the school parking lot after dark, hands exploring under starlight. Daniel's whispers of "I love you" gasped against sweat-damp skin. But intimacy bred vulnerability, and vulnerability invited cracks. The first real fracture came in October, at the Fall Fest Carnival. Elmwood's biggest bash, booths hawking funnel cakes and face paint, the Ferris wheel groaning against harvest moon. Daniel had dragged Lucas there, tickets in hand, promising normalcy. "One night without the bullshit," he'd said. Eyes pleading. They played it straight at first. Cotton candy shared on a bench, Daniel winning a stuffed bear at ring toss and handing it over with a flourish. Laughter felt foreign, freeing until Tommy and his crew rolled up, beers hidden in red Solo cups, Sarah on Tommy's arm like a trophy. "Well, if it ain't the Lovebirds," Tommy drawled, entourage snickering. Sarah's eyes raked Lucas, lip curling. "Careful, Danny boy. Wouldn't want that scholarship slipping away." Daniel stiffened, arm tightening around Lucas's waist. "Back off, Hargrove. We're just having fun." Tommy's grin turned feral. "Fun? Like the fun you two have in the locker room? Heard all about it. Whitaker." Bent over for the ferry, the crowd thickened, kids from school, parents pretending not to hear. Lucas's stomach roiled, the bear slipping from numb fingers. Daniel's face drained of color, but he held firm. "Jealous, Tommy? 'Cause last I checked, your game's all talk." It escalated fast. Shoves traded, Tommy's fist glancing Daniel's jaw before bouncers waded in. They dragged the group apart, Daniel sporting a split lip, Lucas shaking with adrenaline and shame. In the aftermath, alone by the parking lot, Daniel punched the truck hood, knuckles blooming red. "I should have decked him harder. God. Lucas. I'm sorry." Lucas pulled him close, tasting blood and salt. "You stood up. That's enough." But it wasn't. The video, grainy, shot on some asshole's phone, went viral in school chats overnight. By Monday, principal's office. Suspensions threatened, parents summoned. Daniel's dad exploded, yanking him from the house in a tirade that echoed down the block. "You've shamed us, throwing away everything for that. That pervert." Daniel crashed at Lucas's that night, curled on the twin bed, body racked with silent sobs. He said I'm dead to him. The scholarship gone. All because of me. No, because of us, Lucas thought, but held his tongue, stroking hair damp with tears. In the quiet, Daniel's hand found his, fingers lacing tight. "I don't regret you. Never. Love like that, fierce, unyielding, should have been enough." But Elmwood's rot ran deep. November brought homecoming, and with it, the inevitable. Daniel, pressured by his dad and the team's silent ultimatum, agreed to take Sarah as his date. Just for show, he swore to Lucas over frantic phone calls. "One night. Then I'm out, telling everyone the truth." Lucas wanted to believe him, swallowed the jealousy like broken glass. He skipped the dance, holing up with Angels in America and a pint of Ben & Jerry's, the TV flickering scenes of glittery normalcy he couldn't touch. Daniel texted updates. "Dance floor sucks. Miss you." A blurry selfie followed, him in a rented tux, smile strained, Sarah draped possessively. The photos hit Snapchat at midnight, Daniel and Sarah, mid-slow dance, her lips on his cheek. Caption, finally official homecoming king. Lucas's phone slipped from fingers, screen cracking on hardwood. Betrayal, sharp as a switchblade. He didn't answer the 2 a.m. call, or the pleas at dawn. It was nothing. She grabbed me. Please. Trust frayed. But Lucas patched it, forgave, because what choice did he have? They rebuilt in whispers. Study sessions turned makeouts in the AV room. Daniel's apologies etched in hickeys on Lucas's neck. I'm fighting for us, Daniel vowed, hazel eyes earnest. Graduation's soon. We'll leave this shithole behind. NYU for you, some D2 school for me. Real life. Winter thawed into spring. Rehearsals ramping for the senior play. Dead Poets Society. Lucas as Neil, the tragic dreamer. The role gutted him. Parallels too close. Passion stifled by expectation. Love a forbidden verse. Daniel attended every show. Front row. Clapping loudest. But the strain showed dark circles. Snapped tempers at practice. The breaking point hit in April. 2 months from caps and gowns. Prom loomed. The white whale of high school rituals. Daniel's dad issued the edict. You go with Sarah. Clean up your mess, or you're out on the street. Daniel relayed it over greasy diner fries, voice cracking. I have to. One more lie. Then freedom. Lucas's fork clattered. How many one mores, Daniel? I'm tired of being the secret. It's not. Daniel reached across, but Lucas yanked back. You say that, but here we are. Again, tears pricked, hot and unwelcome. Go. Dance your facade. But don't come crying to me after. He stormed out, leaving Daniel amid cooling coffee and unspoken pleas. Prom night, Lucas spent alone. Mom working late, him in sweats binging rom-coms that mocked his reality. Social media was torture. Stories of glittering gowns. Daniel in Sarah's orbit, arm around her waist for the king and queen crowning. The final straw? A tagged photo. Daniel, crown askew, kissing Sarah full on the mouth. Crowd cheering. Caption. Sealed with a crown prom goals. The next day, Lucas confronted him in the empty auditorium, script pages fluttering like wounded birds. Was it worth it? The lie. Daniel's face crumpled. She cornered me. The lights. The pressure, I froze. Lucas. Please. Out. The word was ice. Final. We're done. Daniel begged, on knees amid the stage dust. But Lucas walked away, heart a cavern. Betrayal wasn't a single act. It was erosion, wave after wave until the shore gave way. The fallout poisoned everything. Daniel spiraled, skipping classes, fights in the lot that earned him bruises and benchings. Lucas armored up, buried in books, essays on queer icons like Auden and Baldwin, fueling a fire for the future. Mom noticed, finally, pulling him into hugs that smelled of hospital antiseptic. Whoever he is, he doesn't deserve you, baby. Graduation crept closer, a guillotine blade. Valedictorian honors landed on Lucas, his GPA unassailable, and with it, the speech slot. Principal Hayes cornered him after assembly. Keep it light, son. Inspirational. None of that heavy stuff. Lucas nodded, but in his notebook, words brewed like thunder. One night, 3 weeks out, Daniel slipped a note under his door. Meet me. Fieldhouse. Midnight. Last chance. Lucas burned it in the sink. watching flames lick paper. But sleep evaded, ghosts of touches haunting. At 11:45, he grabbed his jacket, slipping into the night. Daniel waited under the bleachers, gaunt in moonlight, a six-pack at his feet untouched. I fucked up. Every time. But I love you. Still do. Always will. Lucas's throat tightened. Love's not enough when it's chained. Daniel stepped close. Breath whiskey-scented. No. Just nerves. Then let me go. But know this, you're the best thing that's ever happened to me. And I'm sorry for all of it. The kiss was goodbye. Tender, aching, a requiem. Lucas pulled back first, tears carving tracks. Goodbye, Daniel. He walked home under stars indifferent, resolve hardening. The speech would be his manifesto, no more hiding, no more half-truths. Elmwood would hear him, or burn trying. The weeks to graduation blurred into a haze of finals and forced smiles. Lucas moved through Elmwood High like a specter. Corridors echoing with echoes of laughter he no longer joined. Classrooms where teachers praised his intellect but avoided his eyes. The bullying had morphed. Less overt shoves. More insidious silences. Classmates parting like the Red Sea when he approached. Tommy's crew had upgraded to digital warfare. Anonymous DMs with slurs. Deepfake memes circulating in group texts that Lucas pretended not to see. But each barb honed him sharper, the valedictorian speech crystallizing in his mind like frost on a windowpane. He wrote it in fragments. Late nights at the kitchen table, Mom's shift leaving the house to crickets and the hum of the fridge. Pages filled with stories, not just his, but composites of the hurt he'd witnessed. The trans kid who dropped out after bathroom taunts. The bi girl shamed into silence by her own squad. Woven in were glimmers of light. Stolen joys with Daniel. The raw pulse of Rent's anthems. The quiet strength of his mom's unwavering hugs. We are not our scars, he typed, then crossed out, rewriting. We are the stories we refuse to bury. Daniel kept his distance. A ghost in the periphery, sightings in the parking lot, hunched over the Ford's hood, or slouched in the bleachers during lunch, sketching in a notebook that wasn't baseball plays. Rumors said he was applying to community college in Akron. Scholarship dreams dust. Once, their eyes met across the quad, Daniel's hazel depths pleading, but Lucas turned away, the ache too fresh to forgive. Mom sensed the storm. Over microwave lasagna one evening, she set down her fork, voice soft. This speech, Luke, it's big, isn't it? He nodded, throat tight. She reached across, calluses rough against his knuckles. Whatever you say up there, make it yours. You've earned that. Her eyes, blue like his, held a mother's intuition. And if it's about him or them, say it loud. I'm proud. Always. Her words anchored him. The dress rehearsal came and went, practicing in the empty auditorium, microphone feedback screeching like banshees, words tumbling out to rows of vacant seats. Principal Hayes popped in midway, arms crossed, face a mask of polite concern. Inspirational, yes. But trim the personal bits. Keep it universal. Lucas smiled tightly, nodding, but the script stayed intact. A quiet act of war. Commencement eve arrived humid and heavy. Ohio spring uncoiling like a fever dream. Lucas lay awake, replaying scenarios. The crowd's boos drowning him out, Tommy's heckle shattering the mic. Or worse, indifference, his words evaporating into the gym's rafters. Daniel's face flickered unbidden. That first library grin, Rain-slick kisses, the prom night betrayal etched in pixels. Love, he realized, wasn't a straight line. It twisted, scarred, but left you standing taller. Dawn broke golden, filtering through blinds. He dressed deliberate. Khakis pressed crisp, white button-down tucked neat, the red valedictorian cord draped like a sash of honor. Mom snapped a photo on her ancient phone. My graduate, her smile wobbly, mascara threatening mutiny. The drive to Elmwood High was silent radio hymns, her hand on his knee at stoplights. The gym transformed overnight, folding chairs in neat rows, American flags bracketing the stage, a sea of blue gowns rustling like waves. Families clustered, balloons bobbing, programs fanned against the AC's chill. Lucas slipped into his seat near the front, heart a war drum, scanning faces. Mom beaming from the bleachers, Coach Ramirez nodding gruff approval. Tommy slouched with his crew, Sarah preening beside parents oblivious to her venom. Daniel was there, 3 rows back, gown ill-fitting on his frame, which had thinned to sharp angles. Their eyes locked once, brief as a spark. Before he looked away, jaw set. The ceremony unfolded rote. Pledge, anthem warbled off-key by the choir, diplomas handed out to whoops and flashes. Names blurred, Sarah's shrill squeal, Tommy's fist pump, until Lucas Everett crackled over the speakers. He rose, legs leaden, ascending the stage to applause polite but perfunctory. Principal Hayes shook his hand too long, murmuring, "Light now," before yielding the podium. The microphone loomed, a cold sentinel. Lucas adjusted it, clearing throat against the hush. For 100 eyes pinned him. Families, faculty, the ghosts of 4 years' torment. He unfolded his notes, hands steady, and began. Class of 2025, we made it. Laughter rippled, tentative. He paused, letting it settle, then dove in. But let's be real, high school wasn't a victory lap. It was a battlefield. Some of us fought for grades, for spots on teams, for that one perfect college letter. Others, we fought to exist. Murmurs stirred. He pressed on, voice gaining steel. I know that fight. I've lived it. Walked these halls with slurs carved into my back. Invisible knives from folks who saw difference as a threat. They called me names: fag, queer, freak, because loving who I love made them uncomfortable. Because being gay in Elmwood, that's not just different. It's defiant. Gasps dotted the crowd. Tommy shifted, scoffing under breath. Sarah whispered furiously. But Lucas's mom sat taller, chin lifted. Daniel leaned forward, fists clenched white. And I wasn't alone. To the kid in the back who hides his sketches of boys instead of girls. To the girl who dates the wrong gender to fit in. To every soul here who's ever felt the weight of normal crushing your chest. You're not broken. You're brave. His voice cracked. Just once. On brave. And the gym held its breath. No booze. No walkouts. Just a thickening silence. Heavy with reckoning. We mock what we fear because fear is easier than understanding. But understanding, that's power. It's the bridge from isolation to community, from hate to heart. Eyes scanned the audience. A teacher's nod. Slow. A parent's hand squeezing a student's. Daniel's. Glistening. Lucas leaned in. Words pouring now. Unscripted. I loved someone here once. Deeply. He taught me joy in stolen moments. Pain in betrayals born of pressure. Daniel Whitaker. Yeah. You heard me. Stand up if you want, or don't. But know this, I forgive you. Not for you, but for me. Because holding hate, that's the real cage. Daniel rose, trembling, gown pooling at feet. The crowd turned. A wave of stares, shock, curiosity, a smattering of applause. He met Lucas's gaze, mouthing thank you, tears carving silent paths. Lucas straightened, closing strong. So, class of 25. Let's graduate not just with diplomas, but with decency. Mock less, listen more. Love boldly, without apology. Elmwood may be small, but our stories, they're vast. They're American. They're us. He stepped back, mic surrendering with a soft thump. The gym erupted, not thunderous, but genuine. Cheers swelling, whistles piercing, hands clapping in waves that reached the rafters. Tommy sat stunned, mouth agape. Sarah dabbed eyes, perhaps seeing herself reflected. Principal Hayes approached, handshake firm, whispering, that was something. Offstage, hugs awaited. Mom crushing him breathless. My brave boy, her voice muffled in his shoulder. Ellie from bio, tentative. That was, wow. Sorry I bailed. Even Coach Ramirez, gruff, proud, kid. Real proud. Daniel waited at the edge, alone amid the chaos. Lucas approached, the air between them electric, unresolved. You meant it? The forgiveness. Every word. Lucas's hand found his. Brief squeeze. But moving forward, that's on us. Separately, maybe. Daniel nodded, throat working. I get it. But wherever you go, NYU, Broadway, the stars, I'll be cheering. Always. They parted with a nod, the crowd's roar fading to chatter. Diplomas tossed in caps flew like confetti, marking ends and beginnings. The after-party buzzed in the community center's banquet hall, streamers in school colors dangling from beams, a DJ spinning top 40 remixes that thumped through the floorboards. Tables groaned under sheet cakes and punch bowls spiked with contraband vodka, grads mingling in clusters, hugs for old flames, toasts to escapes planned. Lucas navigated it dazed, the speech's adrenaline ebbing into a bone-deep fatigue. Mom hovered nearby, chatting with nurses from her shift, her pride a palpable glow that warmed him from across the room. Well-wishers trickled in unexpected. The drama club kids, once standoffish, pulled him into a group huddle. Dude, you slayed. Neil would approve. Ellie pressed a beer into his hand, eyes earnest. I was scared, okay, of what they'd say about me too. But you made it okay to be scared and still show up. Her words landed soft, a balm on old wounds. Tommy approached next. Solo, hands shoved awkward in pockets, his bravado stripped bare. Hey. That speech hit hard. I was shit, one of the assholes. Sorry doesn't cut it, but yeah. He shifted, scuffing sneaker on tile. Won't happen again. Promise. Lucas searched his face, genuine regret flickering behind the jock mask, and extended a hand. Apology accepted. Clean slate. Tommy gripped it firm, nodding, before melting back into his crew, who eyed him wary but subdued. Sarah lingered at the punch bowl, gown shimmering under lights. When Lucas refilled his cup, she sidled up, voice low. You called out Daniel, but we all played along. Me included. I was jealous, I guess, of whatever you two had that felt real. A pause. Vulnerable. Thanks for the reminder. About listening. She clinked her cup to his attentive bridge before drifting to her parents' side. The hall felt lighter, conversations shifting, whispers of, "Did you hear?" evolving into, "Can you believe?" No pitchforks, no exiles, just a town, cracked open, peering at its reflection. Lucas slipped outside for air, the May night velvet soft, fireflies winking in the lot. He leaned against the brick wall, exhaling slow, the weight of 4 years sloughing off like old skin. Footsteps crunched gravel. Daniel, emerging from shadows, a plastic cup dangling forgotten. Needed a breather too? Lucas nodded, space between them charged but not hostile. Yeah. A lot. Daniel leaned beside him, shoulder brushing accidental on purpose. You were incredible up there. Naming me? In front of God and Elmwood? Guts I don't have. A chuckle, bitter-edged. Dad walked out midway. Haven't seen him since. Mom texted from Seattle, first in years. Said she's proud. Silence stretched. Companionable. Lucas glanced sidelong. Daniel's profile sharp in moonlight, the boy who'd stolen his heart now a man forging his own path. What now? For you. Community college. Like I said. Part-time at the garage. Figure out who I am without the helmet and the hype. Daniel turned. Eyes searching. You? Big city lights calling. NYU. Theater program. Mom's cashing in her 401k for the first year. After that, hustle. A grin tugged Lucas's lips. Unbidden. Maybe write my own play. Elmwood unscripted. Daniel laughed. Genuine. The sound unlocking something in Lucas's chest. I'd buy tickets. Front row. He sobered, hand hovering near Lucas's arm. About us. I know I torched it. But if there's any world where, there might be, Lucas cut in soft, surprising himself. Not today. Not tomorrow. But someday, when we're both whole, not half hidden. He covered Daniel's hand with his thumb tracing knuckles. A promise, embryonic. Friends first. Whatever you need. Daniel's squeeze was gentle, lingering. Always, they stood there, fireflies dancing witness, until the DJ's bassline pulled them back in. The night unfolded kinder. Group photos with unlikely allies, slow dances with Mom, her cheek on his shoulder, whispering you changed everything, and a final toast at midnight, cups raised to futures unwritten. Dawn crept as parties wound down, Lucas driving home with windows cracked, radio crooning Springsteen, Thunder Road, anthems of escape. Mom dozed shotgun, cake frosting on her sleeve, and Lucas felt it, not closure, but opening. Elmwood wasn't fixed overnight. Prejudices lingered like roots under soil. But seeds of change, his speech, the apologies, Daniel's quiet resolve had taken hold. Summer unfurled lazy, packing boxes for the fall move, shifts at the bookstore where indie novels whispered queer histories. Daniel texted sporadic, fixed the truck. Thinking of you. Boundaries holding, but warmth seeping through. One July evening, they met at the old field house. No rain this time, just fireflies and shared beers on the bleachers. Conversation meandered. Dreams dissected. Fears laid bare. No kisses, but the space between them hummed with potential. August brought goodbyes. Mom's tears at the dorm drop-off. NYU's bustle, a whirlwind of brick and ambition, held him fierce. Call every Sunday. And remember, you're enough. Her hug smelled of home, pulling as he boarded the bus back. Freshman orientation was chaos. Syllabi stacks, roommates with accents from Jersey, lectures on method acting that lit him ablaze. Letters from Elmwood arrived weekly, Mom's updates, Ellie's college gossip, and Daniel's, penned deliberate, pages filled with garage grease and tentative sketches of cityscapes he'd never seen. Fall midterms loomed when the call came, Daniel's voice, edged with panic. Dad's bad again. Liver's shot. Docs say months. Maybe. Can you come? Just for a weekend. Lucas booked the train that night, heart twisting. The Whitaker house was a time warp, faded wallpaper, beer can sentinel in the sink. Mr. Whitaker lay propped in the recliner, gaunt and gray, oxygen hissing soft. His eyes, Daniel's mirror, widened at Lucas. You. The boy. Yeah. Lucas swallowed, standing tall. Me. Silence thickened, then cracked, heard the speech. On YouTube, some kid posted it. A wheeze, hand trembling toward a water glass Daniel filled. Thought you'd ruined him. But seeing Danny now, he's lighter. Thanks to you. The words hung, absolution unearned. Lucas nodded, throat tight. He's strong. Always was. The weekend blurred. Bedside vigils. Daniel's hand in his under the kitchen table. Stolen talks on the porch swing. No romance reignited, just solidarity, the quiet power of presence. Mr. Whitaker passed a week later. Funeral a somber affair under gray skies. Daniel's eulogy echoed Lucas's own. Forgiveness as freedom. Love as legacy. Back in New York, the city embraced him. Auditions landed bit roles off-Broadway. Queer theater collectives that felt like family. Holidays brought him home. Thanksgiving with Mom. Her new boyfriend, a gentle firefighter who grilled burgers and asked real questions. Christmas Eve. Daniel appeared on the doorstep, snow-dusted, a wrapped sketchbook in hand, portraits of them, library days, rainy fences, stage silences, rendered with aching precision. Merry Christmas, he said, breath fogging. No pressure. Just wanted you to have this. Lucas pulled him inside, cocoa steaming on the stove. They talked till dawn. Daniel's art classes, Lucas's stage triumphs. The kiss happened natural, fireplace crackling. Mom's snores distant, as if time had mended the fractures. Soft, exploratory, a homecoming. Winter yielded to spring, their reconnection a slow burn. Daniel visited NYU twice, crashing on Lucas's futon amid pizza boxes and prompt books, wandering Washington Square Park hand in hidden hand, the city's anonymity a gift. They navigated tender. Boundaries tested in whispered hotel rooms during Lucas's Ohio breaks, bodies rediscovering rhythms lost to betrayal. Slow, Lucas murmured once, post-lovemaking, fingers tracing Daniel's jaw. We build this right. Daniel nodded, earnest. All in. No more half measures. Life diverged. As it does, Daniel transferring to Cleveland State for graphic design. His sketches evolving into freelance gigs for indie zines. Lucas booking a lead in an off-Broadway queer retelling of Othello. Reviews hailing his visceral vulnerability. Distance tested them. Missed calls after late shifts. Jealousy flaring over Daniel's bar nights with straight-laced roommates. But they adapted, FaceTime dates with virtual candlelight, care packages of mixtapes and dog-eared novels. Elmwood faded to fond scar tissue. Lucas returned summers. The town subtly shifted. Rainbow stickers on shop windows, a GSA club thriving under MS. Patel's guidance from English. Tommy, now a mechanic with a kid on the way, waved from the garage. Heard you're a star. Knew you had it. Sarah, married young to a girl from Kent. Sent a Facebook friend request, accepted, with a message, proud of you both. Mom's wedding came in June, a backyard affair under string lights. Daniel stood best man. Tux rumpled charming, toasting her with tears. To love that defies odds. Later, by the fire pit, Lucas pulled him aside. Marry me? Daniel's laugh bubbled shock. Now? Here? Not now. Someday. But say yes. Yes. Sealed with a kiss. Sparks flying literal and not. Years telescoped. Lucas's equity card earned through grit. Daniel's portfolio landing a gig at a Pittsburgh ad firm. They pooled savings for a shoebox apartment in Brooklyn. Exposed brick. Fire escape herb garden, christened with takeout and tangled sheets. Pride parades became ritual. Rainbow flags aloft. Daniel's signs reading love wins quietly too. Challenges reared. Lucas's breakdown after a flop play. Retreating to bed for days. Daniel's panic attacks in boardrooms. Whispers of not enough echoing his dad's ghost. But they weathered. Therapy sessions tag-teamed. Weekends at the cabin Daniel's mom gifted. Fishing poles idle as they talked dawn to dusk. A decade in. Lucas's one-man show. Silenced voices. Weaving Elmwood's echoes into universal queer tapestry. Toured nationally. Standing ovations in Chicago. San Fran. Daniel designed the posters. Bold lines. A microphone blooming into a heart. On closing night in Ohio, back at Elmwood High's revamped auditorium, they sat front row, Daniel's hand in his, mom beside, graying but glowing. The speech remix ended with a new hook. We silenced no one but our own doubts. And in that quiet, we found our roar. Curtain fell to thunder. Lobby hugs from faces aged graceful. Outside, under stadium lights reborn, Daniel knelt ring simple, silver band etched with together. Some days today. Marry me, laughter, tears, yes. God, yes. The wedding was small. Central Park under autumn blaze, mom officiating via online ordination, friends from coasts converging. Vows traded simple. I choose you, scars and all, rings exchanged, kiss sealing amid cheers. Life post-vows unfolded rich. Adoption papers for a foster kid named Jamie. Wide-eyed at 8 with a sketchpad glued to his hip. Daniel's gallery show of queer icons. Lucas modeling as Auden. Holiday split between Brooklyn bustle and Elmwood's quiet. Bridges mended full. One evening, years on, Lucas found old yearbooks in the attic, dusty tomes of youth's folly. Daniel peered over shoulder, finger tracing a faded photo. 2 boys, arms slung casual, eyes alight. Look at us. Mocked, but unbroken. Lucas closed the book, pulling him close. Silenced their hate. Amplified ours. In the end, it wasn't triumph or tragedy, just humanity. Flawed, fierce, enduring. Elmwood's boy, once whispered about, now shouted his truth to the world. And in Daniel's arms, under city stars or country skies, he knew love, the real kind, echoed loudest.